rev up that 3DS and start transferring up those Pokemon, because Pokemon Bank is probably going to be closing a lot sooner than we would like. Pokemon Bank has been serving trainers around the globe for over 10 years. However, with the closing of the Nintendo 3DS eShop, the future of this legendary service remains uncertain. Currently, the Pokemon Bank servers are still up and running, but it won't stay that way forever. My name is Mitch, and in this video, I'm going to be answering the question of when is Pokemon Bank going to close? If you're an older Pokemon fan like myself, then you're probably very familiar with the fact that you can't bring Pokemon from the Gen 1 and Gen 2 Game Boy games up to their current gen, at least using official hardware. Pokemon Bank bridges that gap, and with the appropriate hardware, you're able to bring Pokemon from Gen 3 all the way up to the current gen. With games like Fire Red and Leaf Green and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you are technically able to bring your Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon all the way up to the current gen. However, with the closure of the Nintendo 3DS eShop, Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transporter can no longer be downloaded. That being said, Nintendo has stated that the servers for both Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transporter will remain online with no end date planned and will be completely free from here on out, as opposed to $5 a year it was before. However, if you don't currently have Pokemon Bank or Pokemon Transporter, with the eShop being closed, you're kind of out of luck. Unless you want to pay $200 for a 3DS that has Pokemon Bank on it already. Which honestly isn't that bad of a deal, because you can get a 3DS for the same price that doesn't have Pokemon Bank on it. Nintendo has stated that there is no end date planned for Pokemon Bank or Pokemon Transporter. Really all we know right now is that it will end eventually. So the question still stands: when is Pokemon Bank going to close? Now let's try to look at this from a logical point of view. Servers for literally anything are not free to run, so with Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transporter being completely free now, chances are Nintendo is losing money. So what exactly is keeping Nintendo from shutting down Pokemon Bank? Some might say that they're giving players extra time to transfer the beloved Pokemon that they've built bonds with up to the current gen, or maybe to give players extra time to finish their living dexes, to shiny hunt all the legendaries in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, stuff like that. I think the answer is actually a lot more simple. There are still Pokemon that are trapped on the 3DS. Those Pokemon being the Patrat line, Furfrou, and the Elemental Monkeys. And technically Spinda, because due to a coding error, Spinda can't be transferred from BDSP to Pokemon Home, even though Ilka made BDSP and Pokemon Home. That's just hilarious to me. Although I do agree that Patrat and the Elemental Monkeys should stay locked away on the 3DS forever. Shutting down Bank and Transporter with no other way to obtain them just doesn't make sense at all. Also, you could say that they're not stuck because they can be transferred to Home, but then they have nowhere to go, so they might as well just be stuck on the 3DS anyways. You could also argue that they're obtainable in Go, and then you can transfer them to Home, but for the sake of this video, we're just focusing on the mainline games. Plus, who wants this ugly logo next to their Pokemon anyways? Patrat, Watchog, and the Monkeys do have something in common though, and that is the game that they're originally from. Pokemon Black and Pokemon White. We got Diamond and Pearl remakes back in 2021 with the release of BDSP, unfortunately. So chronologically, Black and White remakes are next, and this will bring the Patrat line and the Monkeys to the Switch for the first time. Once Pokemon Legends ZA releases in 2025, which I made a video about the Pokemon Legends release date right here if you want to watch that, Furfrou will also be obtainable on Switch as well. Once these two games come out, other than the mythical Pokemon, every single Pokemon in existence will be obtainable on the Switch family of consoles. You just need to have Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Sword and Shield, the Sword and Shield DLC, Scarlet and Violet, the Scarlet and Violet DLC, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl, maybe Legends Arceus. Yeah, except for Spinda, I guess, unless Ilka plans on fixing that. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe you have to get that one from Go. I don't know. Unless Spinda becomes available in Legends ZA, Black and White remakes, or Gen 10. I believe that once this happens, we'll start to see the closure of Pokemon Bank, because there would really be no real reason for it to stay online past that point, especially since we can literally get every single Pokemon on one console now. I believe that with Legends ZA coming out in 2025 and Gen 10 coming without a doubt in 2026 for the 30th anniversary, the Black and White remakes probably aren't going to come out until 2027. Unless Ilka is making the Black and White remakes, then maybe it'll come out before Gen 10. If we do get Black and White remakes before Gen 10, then I'm saying probably spring to fall 2026. Black and White remakes coming out before Gen 10 and after Legends ZA is definitely a possibility, seeing as we got BDSP, Legends Arceus, and Scarlet and Violet all within 1 year, which if you didn't remember, those all came out in the span of 1 year. So we get Legends ZA in 2025. I'm thinking we do end up getting Black and White remakes in early 2026. And then we get Gen 10 in late 2026. I think that's going to be our November game for 2026. I'm saying that Pokemon Bank is going to be closed is going to be closing in the spring of 2026. And then at the absolute latest, like winter 2027. I don't necessarily see this as like a bad thing. I mean, it really sucks. Like, you know, after Pokemon Bank closes, all of our childhood Pokemon that we've like grown up with and have built bonds with, you know, will stay stuck on like handheld consoles for the rest of the time. At the same time though, like if Bank does close in like 2027 or 2026, that would have been almost 15 years that Pokemon Bank has been open, that we've been able to transfer these Pokemon up. So really, it's kind of like on you at that point if you don't get them up. That's kind of why I'm making this video. On top of that, with just using Pokemon Home and only needing like one console, this will be like a super streamlined experience, and we don't have to like, you know, transfer a Pokemon up through countless generations before we're actually finally at the current gen. Now here's how long it takes to transfer a Pokemon from the Game Boy Advance all the way up to home. If you couldn't tell, this clip is sped up. If it wasn't, we'd be here for a very long time. But as an older Pokemon fan, I do like enjoy like the nuances of, you know, transferring Pokemon up from older generations to newer generations. And obviously I enjoy like the nostalgia factor as well. It's like going back in time and bringing Pokemon that I haven't seen in like 20 plus years to the present. Unfortunately, it is a very drawn out process trying to get something from a Gen 3 game up to home. As you can see here, this whole process took almost 32 minutes. Do you know how long it takes to take a Pokemon from a Switch game, put it into home, and then put it back into another Switch game? Less than 2 minutes. So yeah, once Bank is closed and we're confined to like just using Pokemon Home, it's going to be like a super streamlined experience. It definitely shows that Pokemon sees that we, the player base, form these bonds with these creatures and want us to continue cherishing them as the generations go on. I mean, if they didn't, Pokemon Bank would have been closed already. I feel like as like an older millennial Pokemon player, after Bank closes, that's going to be like the end of an era. Like, none of the Pokemon from, you know, 3 generations ago, they're pretty much obsolete, and they're going to stay, you know, locked away for the rest of time, which like sucks. Like, as someone coming from someone who has played like these games for so long, you know, it kind of sucks, but whatever. So hurry up, get your shinies, get your living dexes done, and go see those Pokemon that you haven't seen in 20 plus years. Because soon, you won't be able to. That's all I got for you. See you in the next one. Peace.